We'll call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Rhonda,
Here.
Castroville,
Here.
County of Monterey,
This is Wendy Askew as alternate for Glenn Church, and I'm calling a remote from County Business in Sacramento. I'm in a room. I'm the only adult here and would like to use the revised Brown Act criteria to be able to participate tonight. Thank you.
Delray Oaks,
Here.
Marina Coast,
Here.
Monterey,
Here.
Pacific Grove, Salinas, here, Sand City, here, Seaside.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you very much. We come to the Pledge of Allegiance. And if I could ask Mayor Donaldson if he would lead us today.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Director Donaldson. We go to additions to the agenda. We've had a staff request for one item to add to the agenda. Mr. Shuto, please.
Thank you, Chair Moore. We would like to add one agenda to consider adoption of a resolution for support for the nomination of Kathy Green of the Orange County Water District to the Office of President for Association of California Water Agencies. And I believe you have a staff report and the resolution in front of you that outlines Kathy's experience and the resolution itself.
So the first motion would have to be to simply add this to the agenda, not to approve the item. Is there a motion to add it to the agenda?
Second.
All right, we'll go out to the public, see if anyone wishes to comment on this from the public.
I don't see any raised hands from the public.
Okay, very good. And just to be clear, where did you want to add it? Under 7?
Would you like to add it under 7E?
That's fine. And seconder?
Yes, that's it.
All right. 7E is the motion. Roll call vote, please.
Rhonda,
Yes.
Castroville,
Yes.
County of Monterey,
Yes.
Delray Oaks,
Aye.
Marina Coast,
Yes.
Monterey,
Yes.
Pacific Grove,
Aye.
Salinas,
Aye.
Sand City,
Aye.
Seaside.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you very much. Now we need a motion to approve the agenda overall.
Move approval.
Second. Thank you very much. We have a motion and a second. Go out to the public. All right, seeing no one from the public, roll call vote, please.
Rhonda,
Yes.
Castroville,
Yes.
County of Monterey,
Aye.
Delray Oaks,
Aye.
Marina Coast,
Yes.
Monterey,
Yes.
Pacific Grove,
Aye.
Salinas,
Aye.
Sand City,
Aye.
Seaside.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you very much. So we move on to public comments. Anyone wishing to address the board on matters not appearing on the agenda may do so now for not more than 3 minutes. Comments on any other matter listed on the agenda are welcome at the time the matter is being considered by the board. And I do see one hand.
We will be hearing from Alex Miller.
Please go ahead, Mr. Miller.
Yes, hi, good evening, Alex Miller, City of Seaside. I hope the board will consider us all being back in the room together. It was much more fun that way. And got to see everybody's face. The boardroom seems plenty big for me. There's smaller rooms in smaller cities. They still have meetings and people are allowed to attend. So I think for public participation, it is better if the agency does allow us to attend back in person. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other members of the public wishing to address the board on matters not on the agenda?
I don't see any other hand. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. I do see. Okay, we will hear from Susan Scavone.
Go ahead, Ms. Scavone.
Hi, I do appreciate the ability to attend on Zoom. So I just want to say that I do think it's great that you can come into the room together as well. But I did want to just compliment M1 on, I think you did some sort of letter and you're requesting a grant of some kind for climate change resiliency. And I just wanted to applaud your effort in that regard. I'm sure I'll know more about it later, but I think that's a great thing. So thank you very much. That's it.
Thank you very much, Ms. Scavone. Any other members of the public wishing to address the board on matters not on the agenda?
And I don't see any other hands raised from the public.
All right, we'll go to agenda item 7, which is the consent agenda. Does any director wish to pull any item from consent?
Move approval of the consent agenda.
Second. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, we'll go out to the public.
And I'm not seeing any raised hands from the public.
All right, no public comment on consent agenda, then we'll go to a roll call, please.
Veranda,
Yes.
Castroville,
Yes.
County of Monterey,
Aye.
Del Rio,
Aye.
Marina Coast.
Yes.
Monterey,
Yes.
Pacific Grove,
Aye.
Salinas.
Yes.
Sand City,
Aye.
Seaside.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you very much. Then we go to agenda item 8A, committee reports. And obviously, since the meeting was canceled, it'll be a little hard for the committee to report to us. So any questions or comments? And then we go to agenda item 8B, recycled water committee.
Motion to receive and approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, very
Through the
good.
chair.
Yes.
Real quick, just a quick note back on item A. We had updated the start time of that meeting, so I just wanted to share that in a more public forum, just so that folks had awareness if folks wanted to attend, and hoping that staff could maybe clarify that. I think it's 11:30.
11:30.
So same day of the month, but as opposed to starting at 12, it'd be 11:30.
Thank you very much for that clarification for the public, in case any of the public wishes to zoom in to that meeting.
Through the chair.
Yes, ma'am.
Did I note that the meeting, somewhere Chai was held on the first, was it noticed as the first Friday?
Second Friday of the month.
Yeah, I know it is, but I thought I seen a notice that it was gonna be on the first Friday.
The time to change, but the date is the same. It's the second Friday of each month.
Okay, all right. Yeah.
Any other comments on that? All right, anyone from the public wishing to comment on the recycled water committee report and the motion to accept said report? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Did we do? We took it out to the public?
Just did.
Sorry, I might have missed that.
Veranda,
Yes.
Castroville,
Yes.
County of Monterey,
Yes.
Delray Oaks,
Aye.
Marina Coast,
Yes.
Monterey,
Yes.
Pacific Grove,
Aye.
Salinas,
Aye.
Sand City,
Aye.
Seaside.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you very much. We go to agenda item 9A, update on Pure Water Monterey expansion and Pure Water Monterey. Good to see you in person, Mr. Lindau.
Yes, thank you.
Welcome.
Hopefully there'll be better reception if I'm this close to the mic. Good evening, Chair Moore and board members. We've got a couple of slides we wanted to walk you through, but more importantly, we want to bring, especially the new board members, up to date on expansion. So Pure Water Monterey expansion is now a go. So the water purchase agreement was received, fully executed on April 4th. The staff report is quite lengthy because we wanted to show you the entire chronology of how we got here. The goals are shown. And can we see the slides, or will I be able to see them up here? Try.
One
You
second.
should be.
Okay. And once I kind of bracket the goals, we'll then talk about the next steps, including the schedule. Okay. So the goals again are to make as much water as we can by building out the infrastructure that we have. So we're adding another 20 to 50 worth of acre feet per year. 5750 is roughly this is 60% of the total demands for this surface area. So it's a nice milestone to get to. And you can see from this slide, that's what we're doing at the production facility, the AWPF. And then we're also doing work at the injection well facilities. If you make more water, you need more injection wells. To get there, we've now advertised. So last Monday, the 17th, we advertised for construction, our 2 bid packages. So each one of these bullets is a separate bid package. We'll be opening those bids on June 26th, June 27th, respectively. And if we get some good responsive low bids, we'll be bringing them back to the board at the end of July. So the July 31st board meeting. There'll be a plethora of support, implementation support contracts that will be feathering those in June, July, August, September. I believe the general manager is trying to spread out that peak of work for staff and the board. So advertise for construction, find the contractors. Let's lock in our price for Pure Water Monterey expansion as soon as possible because the prices only go up over time. Okay, we have to go out and lock in our funding. So there's the low interest WIFIA loan through EPA, and then our 4 grants. So the CFO, Mike McCullough, and his team, of course, are leading the charge on that. And then finally, another important critical path item, and this tiers off of or part of a requirement of our WIFIA loan, is we have some easements that we need to secure out at the injection well facilities with the city of Seaside. So staff have been working on that. And I don't know, does the general manager want to?
Yeah, if I can just add a couple things
Clarify.
here, Dave. Certainly one is we're out to bid. We're going to be bringing contracts to you. The WIFIA loan at this point, like Dave said, Fred and Mike have been working on it. It looks at this point, if things go as they should, we should be able to sign that document somewhere around June 15th. So certainly well before we bring the contracts to you. Obviously, we cannot expend $1 prior to signing that document in hopes of getting reimbursed. So that's number one. Number two, in reference to the easements with Seaside, this has been an ongoing discussion with Seaside staff in doing an appraisal so we can appropriately pay for the land that we're trying to use out there. We have come up with an appraisal, third party has, to provide to the city. The city wants to do their own. I traded voicemails with Jaime Fontes, the city manager in Seaside. And he said, Paul, I understand we're delaying, we meaning the city, just because they're trying to do their due diligence. So he's willing to sign a document saying we can move forward with construction absent that easement, and that the appraisal will come in later and we'll finalize it. So what we absolutely need is that signed document from Seaside to get WIFIA to close out that loan. So I was very thankful that Jaime said this just last Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. So that is able to move forward. So just so you know, Alexis, I've been in contact with Jaime and will continue to be, and then our staff is working with the city staff as well.
Thank you.
Overall, our schedule, if we get to the board and you give us permission to award, we would expect notice to proceed for construction mid-August, late August. Right now, we're looking end of 2025 is a conservative estimate of when we would be done. First water, normally you get first water out of your new facilities several months before you're done. But now that we're on the street, we'll be able to interact with contractors who will now take our project seriously because we're on the street. By the middle of next month for the Recycle Walk Committee and then the May board, I'll be able to bring forward a much more detailed schedule, a Gantt chart showing dozens of activities that will allow us to track down and again, follow that critical path of our program over the course of implementation. Maybe pause to see if there's any questions before I show some of the facilities. Again, just to give you a quick taste for what we're going to be building.
Any questions from directors?
Try next slide, please. So again, there it is in all our glory, our $50 million AWPF, our pride and the envy over a dozen water facilities west of the Rockies. 3 of them on the Central Coast are trying to get a project like this implemented. It's been in continuous operation since February 2020. Just in March, Tammy's crew hit another monthly record over 10,000 acre feet delivered. So the first bid package for AWPF is basically on the project site, most of it inside this building. Next slide, please. This is, you can see again, the way the project was originally built was so when we expand it, we can drop the new equipment into slots, waiting for the new equipment. This is the source water pump station, which diverts the feed water into the AWPF. Next slide, please. This slide is kind of a plan view. It shows you the floor of the membrane building where there's 3 different process steps, ready and waiting for that equipment to be purchased and tied in. In fact, one of the biggest challenges, next slide, please. One of the biggest challenges for this project is we're going to be inserting and starting up this equipment without or with minimal shutdowns. So again, making water means making revenue, and we want to have as few shutdowns as possible. This shows you the slot where the microfiltration skid will be dropped into place. And next slide. And then this is the product water pump station. So again, you can see this is where a pump will be dropped into place. This is the pump station that sends the purified recycled water across town 8 miles to the injection well field. And along the way, Marina Coast Water District grabs their share of water for their recycled water irrigation customers. Next slide. So now that we're out at the injection well field, you can see this slide. So orienting yourself to this picture, up is basically north. The dark blue bold lines, those are existing conveyance piping. And the long line is along General Jim Moore Boulevard. And to the far left of the figure, you can see the Bayonet Black Horse Golf Course, which Marina Coast Water District has now signed up and is using recycled water. Lower left-hand corner is our existing 4 injection wells, what we're calling the Western well field. And then what we're going to be building as part of the expansion is 2 more deep wells. And then we're going to connect the conveyance pipeline from the Black Horse Reservoir up on the hill and the Western well field. That'll give us a lot of reliability, allow us to feed purified recycled water to all the wells from both directions. That's what you want in a conveyance water supply system. With that, I would hand it back to the chair, maybe for some other questions.
Any questions, directors? So,
Through the chair.
yes,
So I have a question, and that is, once we get moving with the construction, who will we have someone on site overseeing the day-by-day construction of the slabs and lessons learned? I just want to make sure that blueprints are read and correctly.
So
If you know the direction I'm going.
I
And I
think
won't go
so.
any further.
And great question, Marianne. So for those of you that were not here when we did the first phase, we had an issue with some of the slabs in the membrane building in specific that the conduits, the electrical conduits, which were supposed to be run underneath in trenches, were actually in the slab, thereby, disturbing the amount of steel we had in it and the amount of concrete. So we had to, it was constructed not exactly as the plans were drawn up, as Marianne alluded to. So at this point, some of the contracts that Dave mentioned that we'll be bringing to you in June, there's 2 contracts for engineering services during construction from the designer, Kennedy Jenks. And then there'll be 2 contracts for construction management. We have gone out and received proposals on construction management, both for the advanced water purification facility as well as the injection wells. So we will have, professional construction managers and inspectors that'll be integral to our team and will be part of the team. So, Dave will set up meetings with our staff, the construction managers and the contractors, and hopefully to alleviate some of those mistakes from the past.
Thank you.
any other directors? Thank you, Director Carbone. Dr. Craig, I'm looking through all this.
Yeah, sorry about
plexiglass and-
that. There's a lot of acrylic between you and I. Dave, I just had a question for you. You have an attachment here that just sort of kind of gives an overview, but talking about the source waters, you have a bullet point here that says Salinas Stormwater Phase 1A and B facilities are available for withdrawing Pond 3 water for PWM recycling. I think that's a point of contention, if I remember correctly. Is that, I mean, so wondering if maybe you could speak to that, why that's an area of, I mean, it sounds very clear that it's available for withdrawing, but I don't think it is.
So and obviously this gets into great levels of detail, and I'll try to do a broad brush. So the Pond 3 pump station is in the Salinas industrial ponds. There's 3 ponds. We're at the 3rd one. And that pump station was funded by a grant, primarily from a grant from the state to M1W. And the intent, water coming to M1W, as specified in our agreements, is definitely the storm water that flows into those ponds and is sitting there. So right now, frankly, a lot of water. Last year, like 5 acre feet of water, it was next to nothing. On average, what the studies had shown was on average about 235 acre feet of water. So that's what that is referencing. In terms of the Pond 3 water itself, so the industrial discharges to the city's facilities, that's the topic of the long-term agreement that we've been working on with the city and Water Resources Agency. So that's not defined as of yet.
So maybe we write that in the.
That it's this Pond 3 stormwater.
I was going to say for the clarification of that, because I think that's been kind of an area of discussion.
It is, and it will continue to be. In fact, it was probably a week or so ago, I got a text from Steve Kerrigan, your city manager, about, hey, we need to get this long-term agreement finalized, particularly with warm weather upon us. So
okay,
we can certainly clarify that.
Great, thank you. No further question. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Director Askew, since you're remote, any questions? All right.
No question. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Lindau, thank you. And we go, I believe, to Mr. Marsh for 9B, update on proposed tax bill.
Actually, I think it will be Mike. Do you want to take the lead? I can fill in if needed. Yeah.
Mr. McCullough.
Good evening. Just want to kind of give the board an update on the tax roll. Since the last board meeting, I wasn't able to attend. So as you see on your screen, we're just going to go through some of the activities that we've completed to date. So we've dedicated a web page that's up, which includes bilingual frequently asked questions and access to a feedback survey that's completed. We're getting ready to send out our bilingual message on our customer bills that will go out in May, June, July, and August. So that's completed as well. We're finalizing the community presentation. So it will be in that will be bilingual. And we'll talk about that a little bit more down below. And then just wanted to give the board an update first. And then after this board meeting tonight, we'll start reaching out to the city councils and districts to be setting up times when we can come and educate and present about the proposed tax roll change to the city councils. And then for the community forums, which is kind of linked back up to the 3rd bullet point of the bilingual community presentation, we're looking to do a couple of presentations in English and Spanish at local public libraries. It can be a hybrid format, make the presentation available in evening when people can attend. So we'll be looking to do that you can see in July, after we've kind of started advertising and then communicating these dates to the city councils and the districts. And then, community meetings as needed and as we can get them scheduled. And then just a couple of things on the customer assistance program. We're researching similar programs that are occurring through different utilities. And we're going to try to have a meeting scheduled with legal next month to go over what our initial research has completed and how we can continue to fund this program moving into the future. So it's just a quick update of progress that we've had since the last board meeting.
Thank you, Mr. McCullough. Any directors have questions? Please, correct.
Just remind me again where the county is with their journey on monthly billing.
Yeah, so since our last conversation, we reached back out to them and when they made the presentation to the county, and maybe Wendy can educate me a little bit more, that was late February. And so in their presentation, they were saying, hey, we're a little short staffed, but they were planning on moving forward and trying to get that brought to the board by the end of the summer. And so since that time, they've had additional staff come on board. And so that's kind of helped hopefully speed this process up. We'll be in close communication with them as we give the city council updates as to seeing where they're, what's the percentage of where they are and how likely that will be moving forward. So we're continuing to stay updated with them.
So if we're gonna have this on the agenda to discuss every single month, I think an update from the county should be included in this, because that's kind of an integral part of this entire process. And really, I think this board indicated that we want to be very clear about the opportunity for monthly billing for our residents. And so that's obviously important. Should the Board of Supervisors, create policy around that or move towards it, I think that's also should be part of the update or the report that we're giving monthly here.
No problem.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Craig. Any other questions, comments?
I have a quick question, Mike. On the webpage that I looked up, it said customer experience and no online access. Is there a time frame that you guys are looking into online access for customers?
Well, a lot of this will be predicated on if we go to the tax roll. So currently there's no online access, or if there is, it's very limited. So then I have to defer some of that. to
Yeah,
Fran.
let me just
so if
elaborate. So yeah, unfortunately, with our current billing vendor a while back, we did have some, but they did have basically a kind of a hacking. What we do have on the site right now, customers can get their statements basically for like the current month and prior month, but they're static. So, they won't show like any payments and stuff like that in. So it's like Mike said, it's somewhat limited. So, but obviously, should we go forward eventually with the county tax roll, all of that stuff will be available, with their.
Okay, yeah, because I think that would be important
Yeah, exactly.
for
Yeah.
them to see. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Urbino. Any other questions, comments from directors? All right, so we'll go out to the public if they have any questions or comments on either of the items under 9 informational items.
Don't see any raised hands.
All right, then we move on to agenda item 10, staff reports. Mr. Sho.
So I just have a real couple quick ones, and I'll let Mike expand on it. We've had a number of tours, which have been good. Actually, I gave a tour to the president of Cal-Am, Kevin Tilden, a little over a week ago. And it's the first time he's been on site to be able to see the facility operating as it is and where expansion is going to go. So that was nice to spend a little time with him. Next, to me, significant we had was with the Central Coast Regional Water Quality Control Board. Last Thursday, they had their board meeting up in Watsonville, so they were in the area. So Mike and Rachel coordinated a tour at the plant it ended up being 4 of their 5 board members. So they had to treat it as a meeting, as you can imagine, and probably about another 10 staff or so, but I'll kick it off to Mike to give some details on it, and then I might sneak out the door.
Okay. So just a great opportunity. We kind of gave them an overview of the advanced water purification facility. A lot of the staff and board members have never been there. Went to the demonstration facility, then we walked them through the larger plant. And then after we came back, we had a quick break, and then we discussed what we currently do at the treatment facility. We had a nice presentation from Jose about SVRP, the recycled water for agriculture. Had a lot of good questions about that. And then we also kind of had a section about what we're doing currently and what we plan to do in the future. So we talked about diversion structures, the microgrid. We talked about stormwater, and then also things we're trying to plan to do in the future, like utilizing the Blue Planet model to help manage the flows coming in the plant and make sure that we can utilize water as efficiently as we can. So just a great tour. Had a lot of great feedback from the staff that were there and followed up today and sent them an attendees list and the presentations that we gave. So board chair came up afterwards and said that she was appreciative of our time, and it was really nice of them.
All right. Thank you, Mr. McCullough. Other staff reports?
Yes, a real quick one. At the Recycle Water Committee, I had mentioned that we were going to bring to the board today the replacement for the 21 kV gear. And after a meeting with BB&K that following Monday, we're regrouping, and so it won't come to the board until the June, since May is dedicated to the budget. So look forward to it there. We've basically changed our game plan, and so we needed to get us another bid based on our new game plan. But other than that, I kind of joked in agenda review, there was no floods and nothing blew up. So I don't really have a whole long staff report to give you. Other than the team is continuing doing what they do best. Thanks.
Thank you.
And- Yeah, sorry. The only thing to add from me real quick is the exec group we met last week to kind of talk about the budget. So we'll be ready to kind of give an initial discussion to the board on an initial preview of the budget at our May 12th BPC meeting. That's all I had.
All right. Any other staff reports? Okay, seeing none, we go to board member comments. Any comments? On the right side of the aisle? Any comments from the left side of the aisle?
Random, just a point
Yes.
of order, sorry. Does the preliminary budget go to the Budget and Personnel Committee first?
Yeah, so just
Okay.
a reminder for everybody, we go through like a three-part process. So it'll go to the Budget Personnel Committee on the 12th. Then we basically, normally we would have our board meeting on the 26th of May, but we actually dedicate that for a special budget study session. And then the board, should it so entitled to do so, can adopt the budget at the first board meeting in June. So we'll do 2 board meetings in June for some reason, if they want to delay it, they could actually do it at the second board meeting.
Got it. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Right. Any other board member comments? Gosh, you're all working hard to try and set a record on this the length of this meeting, at least for the current board. Thank you very much, staff, for your hard work. We appreciate your ongoing efforts on behalf of our ratepayers, and thank you, directors, for your time also on behalf of our ratepayers. And I do believe we stand adjourned until the budget workshop.